Do you know why the first 10 seconds of your day determine the next 16 hours of your life? Most people open their eyes and immediately begin the same conversation with existence they've been having for years. They wake up tired, already behind, already counting what's wrong. But what if I told you there's a single phrase, 7 simple words, that could transform not just your morning, but your entire relationship with being alive? I want you to pause right now and think about how you woke up this morning. Was your first thought gratitude or complaint? Did you greet the day as a friend or face it like an enemy? The universe is always listening to your first words, your first feelings, your first choice about how to meet life. And life, my dear one, responds in kind. Place your hand over your heart right now. Feel that faithful rhythm. Your heart has been beating while you slept. Your lungs have been breathing. Your body has been healing and renewing itself. Before you've done a single thing, life has already shown you love. Yet how easily we forget this miracle and begin our day in scarcity instead of abundance. Let me tell you about Marguerite, a 47-year-old teacher from Portland who came to one of my workshops 3 years ago. She told me she had been waking up at 5:38 every morning for 12 years, and every single day began the same way. Her first thought was always about her ex-husband's betrayal, then her mounting bills, then her aging mother's health. By the time her feet hit the cold hardwood floor, she was already carrying the weight of the world. She had chronic fatigue, her shoulders were permanently tense, and she couldn't remember the last time she had looked forward to anything. One morning, after a particularly restless night, Marguerite was lying in bed, feeling that familiar heaviness pressing down on her chest like a thick wool blanket. She was about to begin her usual mental inventory of worries when she remembered something I had taught about the power of the first thought. Instead of cataloging her problems, she placed both hands over her heart and spoke 7 words that changed everything. Within 3 minutes, she felt warmth spreading through her chest like honey. Her breathing deepened. For the first time in years, she smiled before leaving her bed. Here's what happened next. That same afternoon, a colleague mentioned a part-time position at a wellness center. Within 2 weeks, Marguerite had not only gotten the job, but discovered a passion for helping others she never knew existed. Her chronic fatigue began lifting. Her relationship with her mother softened because she was no longer approaching every conversation from a place of depletion. 6 months later, she met David, a kind man who appreciated her gentle spirit. But the most profound change was this. She told me with tears in her eyes that she actually looked forward to waking up. The answer to my opening question is this. Those first 10 seconds set your vibrational frequency for the entire day. Your subconscious mind is most receptive when you're emerging from sleep, and whatever thought pattern you choose in that liminal space becomes the lens through which you experience everything that follows. When you wake up rehearsing problems, your nervous system prepares for battle. When you wake up acknowledging blessing, your entire being relaxes into flow. If this is resonating with you, if you're tired of waking up feeling heavy, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. Every week, there's a new teaching that can shift your relationship with life itself. These aren't just pretty concepts. They're practical tools for living with more ease, more joy, more connection to the benevolent intelligence that's always supporting you. And as we go deeper into this practice, I want you to scroll down to the comments and share with me, what emotion did you feel when you imagined waking up differently? Was it hope? Relief? Skepticism? Longing? Your honest response helps me understand how to serve you better, and it helps create community among everyone who's ready to transform their relationship with morning consciousness. The 7 words that Marguerite spoke that morning, the same 7 words I'm about to share with you, carry within them the power to transform not just your mornings, but your entire existence. They're not magic words. They're alignment words. They help you remember what's true before the world tells you what's wrong. They connect you immediately to the greatest truth of your life, which is that existence itself has chosen you again and again, morning after morning, breath after breath. Tomorrow morning, when you first open your eyes, you're going to have a choice. You can wake up the old way, immediately diving into worry and hurry and the endless list of things that need fixing. Or you can wake up the new way, acknowledging first that the very fact of your consciousness returning is itself a miracle, a gift, a sacred opportunity to participate once again in the extraordinary experience of being alive on this beautiful earth. Before we go any further, I want you to experience this for yourself right now. If you're not already lying down, I want you to find a comfortable position, as close to your morning waking position as possible. Place your feet flat if you're sitting, or let your whole body relax if you can lie down. Close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths with me. Breathe in slowly, feeling your ribcage expand like an accordion opening. Hold for a count of 3. Now exhale, releasing any tension you're carrying in your shoulders, your jaw, your stomach. Again, breathe in, this time imagining you're breathing in the first light of dawn, soft and golden and full of possibility. Hold that breath like you're holding a precious gift, and exhale, releasing the need to control anything today, surrendering to the rhythm of life that's always supporting you. One more time, breathe in possibility, breathe in grace, breathe in the awareness that you're exactly where you need to be in this moment. Hold. And exhale everything that doesn't serve your highest good, everything that keeps you small, everything that makes you forget your inherent worthiness. Now, place both hands over your heart, one on top of the other. Feel the warmth of your palms against your chest. This is your sacred starting position, the way you'll begin each day from now on. Your heart has been beating faithfully for you since before you were born. It has never once taken a break from loving you. Feel that steady rhythm beneath your hands. This is the drum that keeps the music of your life playing. This is the most faithful friend you'll ever have. Here are the 7 words that will change everything. Say them with me, first in a whisper, as if you're sharing a secret with life itself. Thank you, life, for choosing me again. Let those words settle into your heart like seeds finding fertile soil. Feel how they resonate in your chest, how they create space where there might have been tightness. Now say it again in your normal speaking voice with a little more conviction, as if you're having a conversation with a dear friend. Thank you, life, for choosing me again. Feel the difference in your body when you speak these words. Notice how your breathing might deepen, how your face might soften. And now, say it one more time as a declaration, as a truth you're claiming for yourself, as someone who recognizes the profound gift of consciousness itself. Thank you, life, for choosing me again. Are you feeling your heart opening? Are you sensing a warmth beginning to spread through your chest? Are you noticing that your shoulders have naturally dropped, that your breathing has become easier and more spacious? Notice what's happening in your body right now. You might feel your breathing has deepened naturally, without any effort on your part. Your shoulders might have dropped away from your ears. There might be a softness around your eyes, a relaxation in your jaw that wasn't there moments ago. This is your nervous system responding to gratitude. This is your body remembering that it's safe, that it's loved, that it belongs here in this universe that has room for you. The phrase, "Thank you, life, for choosing me again," does something profound that goes far beyond positive thinking or wishful hoping. It acknowledges that your existence isn't an accident or a burden or something you need to justify through achievement or perfection. It's a choice that life keeps making on your behalf. Every morning, existence looks at billions of possibilities and says, yes, you, again. You get another chance to love, to grow, to contribute, to experience beauty, to learn something new about what it means to be human. When Francine, a 62-year-old widow from Nashville, first tried this practice, she told me she actually felt embarrassed saying the words. She had spent 30 years believing she was more trouble than she was worth, that she took up too much space, that other people deserved happiness more than she did. But on the 4th morning, something shifted. She said the words and immediately heard her late husband's voice in her memory saying, "Of course life chose you again. Look at all the love you still have to give." She called me crying, but they were tears of recognition, not sorrow. While you're integrating this feeling, I want you to scroll down and tell me, which word in that phrase touched you most deeply? Was it thank you because you're not used to being grateful for your own existence? Was it life because you've been fighting with reality instead of flowing with it? Was it choosing because you felt rejected or overlooked? Or was it again because it reminds you that every day is a new beginning, a fresh start, another opportunity to get it right? Share that with me in the comments. This isn't positive thinking or denial or pretending that your problems don't exist. This is reality recognition. Life did choose you. The fact that you're here, breathing, aware, capable of love and growth and contribution, capable of feeling beauty and creating meaning, that's not random. That's selection. That's intention. That's the universe saying you matter, your consciousness matters, your participation in the grand story of existence matters. Tomorrow morning, before your feet touch the floor, before you check your phone, before you remember your to-do list or your worries or your regrets, you're going to place your hands over your heart and speak these words. You're going to let them settle into your bones like medicine. You're going to let them remind you that waking up isn't just a biological function. It's a cosmic invitation to participate once again in the miracle of being alive, aware, and capable of love. Now let me explain why this simple practice has the power to transform your entire life experience. The human brain processes approximately 60,000 to 70,000 thoughts per day, and neuroscientists have discovered that the very first thought pattern you establish upon waking becomes what they call the default mode for your neural networks. Think of it as setting the radio station for your mind. Whatever frequency you tune into first thing in the morning, that's the signal your brain keeps returning to throughout the day. Louise Hay understood this principle decades before modern neuroscience could explain the mechanisms behind it. She taught that our morning consciousness is like wet cement. Whatever imprint we make in those first few minutes hardens into the foundation for everything that follows. When you wake up and immediately begin worrying, complaining, or rehearsing problems, you're literally programming your nervous system to look for more of the same. Your reticular activating system begins scanning for threats, problems, evidence that life is difficult. But when you wake up and speak words of gratitude, when you acknowledge your life as a gift rather than a burden, you're setting a completely different frequency. Your reticular activating system begins scanning for beauty, for opportunities, for evidence that you're supported and blessed. Instead of noticing what's wrong, you start noticing what's working. Instead of feeling like life is happening to you, you begin to sense that life is happening for you. The phrase, "Thank you, life, for choosing me again," contains 3 distinct vibrational frequencies that work together to reprogram your consciousness at the deepest level. Thank you activates the gratitude response, which releases serotonin and dopamine, your body's natural happiness and bonding chemicals. Life addresses existence itself as a conscious, benevolent force rather than a random series of events. And choosing me again reinforces your sense of worthiness and belonging, countering the deep-seated belief that you're somehow a mistake or an inconvenience, or that you don't really deserve to be here. I know some of you are thinking, "But Louise, I don't have time for this in the morning. I barely have time to get dressed and grab coffee." That resistance is exactly why you need this practice most urgently. When you feel like you don't have time for gratitude, you're living in survival mode. Your nervous system is constantly activated, constantly preparing for threats, constantly scanning for problems. This state of chronic stress doesn't just affect your mood. It affects your immune system, your digestion, your sleep, your ability to think clearly and make good decisions, your relationships, your creativity. Others might be thinking, "This feels too simple. How can 7 words really change anything substantial?" That's your rational mind trying to protect you from disappointment. It's the same part of you that's been convinced that healing has to be complicated, that transformation has to be earned through struggle, that change requires dramatic effort and sacrifice. But the truth is, the most profound shifts often come through the simplest practices consistently applied with sincerity and openness. And some of you might be wondering, what if I say the words but don't feel anything? What if it doesn't work for me? What if I'm too broken or too far gone? Here's what I want you to understand. This isn't about feeling immediate bliss or having a mystical experience. This is about gradually shifting the direction of your attention, slowly rewiring patterns that have been in place for years or decades. Even if you feel resistance at first, even if the words feel foreign in your mouth, you're still creating new neural pathways. You're still teaching your brain that there's another way to meet the day. Place both hands on your heart right now. Feel that steady rhythm beneath your palms. That heartbeat has been with you through every moment of your life, through every joy and every sorrow, through every triumph and every failure. It has never once judged you or abandoned you. It has simply kept the rhythm of your existence flowing. If you're starting to understand the profound simplicity of this practice, if you're beginning to see how it could shift not just your mornings, but your entire relationship with being alive, consider subscribing to this channel. These teachings are designed to meet you exactly where you are and guide you gently toward where you're meant to be. Not through force or complicated techniques, but through love and recognition of what's already true about you. The beauty of starting your day with gratitude to life itself is that it immediately connects you to something larger than your personal problems. Your unpaid bills, your difficult relationships, your health challenges, your work stress, these are all real, and they all deserve attention and appropriate action. But they're not the whole truth about your existence. The whole truth includes the miracle that your heart is beating, that your lungs are breathing, that your mind is capable of thought and imagination, that your spirit is capable of growth and love and contribution to the world. Once you've established the foundation of thank you, life, for choosing me again, there are 3 additional practices that can deepen and amplify this morning transformation. These aren't complicated rituals or time-consuming procedures that will overwhelm your schedule. They're simple extensions of the gratitude you've already awakened, ways to let that appreciation flow through your entire being like water flowing through all the rooms of a house. The first practice is the blessing of your 5 senses. Still lying in bed, still connected to that feeling of gratitude that's opened in your heart, begin to notice what each of your senses is offering you in this very moment. Start with your hearing. What sounds are greeting you as you emerge into consciousness? Maybe it's the gentle hum of the heater warming your home. Maybe it's the distant sound of traffic beginning to move as the world awakens. Maybe it's birds welcoming the morning with their songs, or the quiet breathing of someone you love sleeping beside you. Say quietly, "Thank you, ears, for letting me hear the world coming alive around me." Next, open your eyes and soften your gaze toward whatever you can see from your bed. Maybe it's morning light filtering through curtains, casting gentle shadows on the wall that shift and dance. Maybe it's familiar furniture that has served your home faithfully, creating a space of comfort and rest. Maybe it's a photograph of people you love, or books waiting to share their wisdom, or plants growing quietly in their pots. Whatever you see, say, "Thank you, eyes, for showing me beauty in the ordinary details of my life." Notice what you can smell in the air around you. Perhaps it's the lingering scent of yesterday's candle, still holding the memory of peaceful evening hours. Maybe it's the freshness of clean sheets that have held you safely through the night. Maybe it's coffee beginning to brew somewhere in your home, or the subtle fragrance of soap on your skin, or simply the clean smell of morning air. Thank you, nose, for bringing me the subtle fragrances that make my life rich and layered. Feel the texture of your bedding against your skin, the temperature of the air touching your face, the weight of the blanket covering you like an embrace. Notice how your body is supported by the mattress, how your head rests comfortably on the pillow, how your limbs are relaxed and free from the tension of the day. Thank you, skin, for letting me feel held and comfortable and safe in this space that belongs to me. And finally, notice any taste in your mouth, even if it's just the neutral taste of your own breath, the taste of rest and renewal, the taste of a mouth that's ready to speak words of love and to receive nourishment throughout the day. Thank you, mouth, for being ready to taste the goodness that life offers. This practice takes less than 2 minutes, but it grounds you completely in present moment awareness while extending gratitude throughout your entire sensory experience of being alive. The second practice is acknowledging the organs that worked tirelessly while you slept. Your body is a miraculous community of systems that never stop serving you, never stop cooperating to keep you alive and healthy and functioning. While you were unconscious, while you were dreaming or resting deeply, your heart pumped thousands of gallons of blood through your body. Your liver filtered toxins and processed nutrients. Your kidneys cleaned your blood and maintained perfect fluid balance. Your lungs exchanged oxygen and carbon dioxide with flawless precision. Your digestive system processed nutrients and eliminated waste. Your immune system fought off potential threats. Your brain consolidated memories and cleared away cellular waste, preparing you for a new day of learning and experiencing. Place your hand on different parts of your body as you offer gratitude to these faithful servants. Hand over heart. Thank you, heart, for beating faithfully all night long, never once taking a break from loving me. Hand on forehead. Thank you, brain, for clearing and organizing and renewing while I slept. Hand on stomach. Thank you, digestive system, for processing yesterday's nourishment and preparing my body for today's adventures. This isn't just gratitude, it's communication. Your body responds to appreciation with increased harmony and function. The third practice is setting your daily intention with a single word. After you've thanked life for choosing you and blessed your senses and honored your body's tireless work, ask yourself, what quality do I want to embody today? Not what you want to accomplish or achieve or cross off your list, but how you want to be in the world. Maybe today your word is gentle, because you've been too harsh with yourself lately and you want to practice softness. Maybe it's curious, because you want to approach challenges with openness instead of fear. Maybe it's radiant, because you're ready to let your natural light shine more brightly in the world. Choose one word that feels alive and true for you today. Say it 3 times while your hands are still on your heart. Today I embody gentleness. Today I embody gentleness. Today I embody gentleness. This becomes your anchor throughout the day. When you face decisions or challenges, you can return to this intention and ask, what would gentleness do here? How would gentleness respond to this situation? Bartholomew, a 43-year-old construction worker from Detroit, was skeptical about these practices at first. He thought they were too soft for his lifestyle, too feminine for someone who worked with heavy machinery and managed crews of tough men. But he was dealing with chronic back pain and irritability that was affecting his family relationships, and he was desperate enough to try anything. He decided to experiment with the morning gratitude and body blessing for 1 week, just to see what might happen. By the 3rd day, he noticed that his back pain was significantly reduced. By the end of the week, his wife commented that he seemed calmer, more present with their children, less likely to snap when minor things went wrong. His co-workers began asking what was different about him because he was handling job site stress with unusual patience and clarity. 6 months later, Bartholomew told me that these simple morning practices had not only improved his physical health, but had transformed his entire approach to his work and relationships. Which of these 3 practices are you actually going to try tomorrow morning? Not which one sounds nice or interesting, but which one are you genuinely willing to experiment with? Which one calls to something in you that's ready for change? The power isn't in knowing about these practices or thinking they're wonderful ideas. The power is in doing them consistently with sincerity and openness to what might shift in your life as a result. Now that you understand the foundation, I want to share 2 more advanced practices that can take your morning transformation to an even deeper level of intimacy with life itself. These aren't for everyone immediately, but if you've been working with the basic gratitude practice for at least a week and you're ready to expand your relationship with conscious awakening, these practices will serve you profoundly. The 4th practice is a direct dialogue with your body as you're emerging from sleep. Instead of treating your body as a vehicle that should just start working efficiently when you need it to, you're going to have an actual conversation with it, honoring it as the miraculous partner it has always been. While you're still lying down, still in that tender space between sleep and full wakefulness, place your hands somewhere on your body where you feel guided. Maybe your heart, maybe your stomach, maybe your forehead, wherever feels most natural and comforting. Begin by saying, Good morning, dear body. Thank you for resting well and renewing yourself through the night. Then pause and actually listen. I know this might sound unusual if you've never done it before, but your body has its own intelligence, its own wisdom, its own way of communicating with you through sensation and intuition. You might sense where it feels strong today, where it needs extra care and attention, what kind of movement it's craving, what kind of nourishment would serve it best. You might ask, "What do you need from me today?" and then wait quietly for whatever impression arises. Maybe you'll sense that your body wants gentle stretching before you get out of bed. Maybe it's asking for more water than usual throughout the day. Maybe it's requesting a walk in nature or an earlier bedtime tonight or a particular kind of food for breakfast. This isn't about becoming obsessive or hypochondriacal. It's about reestablishing the partnership between your conscious mind and your body's innate intelligence. Finish this dialogue by saying, "I commit to caring for you today with love and respect. Thank you for being my faithful companion through every moment of this life." You'll be amazed at how differently your body responds when it feels heard and appreciated rather than commanded and criticized. The fifth practice is creating what I call a blessing anchor. This is a specific physical touch or gesture that you'll use only during your morning gratitude practice. Something that becomes associated in your nervous system with this state of appreciation and connection to life. It might be placing your thumb in the center of your palm and applying gentle pressure. It might be touching your heart and your forehead simultaneously. It might be interlacing your fingers and resting your hands over your solar plexus. Choose something simple and specific, something you can easily repeat without thinking about it. Every morning, after you've spoken your gratitude and done whatever additional practices feel right for that day, you'll make this gesture while saying, "This feeling of blessing lives in me always." You're creating a physical anchor for this state of consciousness, something you can return to throughout the day whenever you need to remember your inherent worthiness and connection to life's benevolent intelligence. The beautiful thing about establishing a blessing anchor is that after several weeks of consistent practice, you can use this touch at any time during your day to instantly reconnect with that morning feeling of gratitude and grace. Stuck in traffic, you can make your gesture and return to centeredness instead of frustration. Facing a difficult conversation, you can touch your anchor and remember that you are blessed and guided. About to make an important decision, you can activate this physical reminder of your connection to life's wisdom. Here's what neuroscience tells us about these practices and why they work so much more powerfully than random positive thinking. When you establish consistent patterns of gratitude and body awareness, you're literally rewiring your brain. The neural pathways associated with stress, worry, and self-criticism begin to weaken from lack of use and attention, while the pathways associated with appreciation, presence, and self-compassion strengthen through repetition and focus. Your brain becomes more efficient at accessing states of calm and clarity. Your nervous system becomes more resilient. Your overall sense of well-being improves not because your external circumstances have necessarily changed, but because your internal landscape has transformed. The combination of gratitude to life, sensory blessing, body appreciation, intention setting, dialogue with your physical self, and anchor creation gives you a complete morning practice that addresses every level of your being. You're not just thinking differently. You're feeling differently, breathing differently, inhabiting your body differently, relating to your day and your life differently. Which version of yourself will wake up tomorrow morning? The one who immediately begins cataloging problems and rushing toward obligations, already stressed before the day has even begun? Or the one who takes 5 minutes to remember that existence itself is a gift, that your body is a miracle, that this day is full of possibilities for love, growth, and contribution to the world? The choice is entirely yours, and you have the power to make that choice fresh every single morning for the rest of your life. Understanding the timeline of transformation is crucial because it helps you recognize progress and stay committed to the practice even when changes feel subtle or gradual. I want to share with you the 5 distinct milestones that almost everyone experiences when they commit to beginning their day with gratitude and blessing. These aren't rigid schedules that you need to follow exactly, but rather natural rhythms of development that I've observed over decades of teaching this work to thousands of people. During the first 3 days, you'll likely experience what I call the strangeness phase. Your mind will resist these new patterns because they're unfamiliar. It will tell you this feels artificial or forced or silly. You might forget to do the practice entirely, or you might remember halfway through getting dressed and feel frustrated with yourself. This is completely normal and expected. Your neural pathways have been running the same morning patterns for years, possibly decades. The brain doesn't immediately trust new behaviors, even beneficial ones, because it's designed to conserve energy by repeating familiar routines. You might feel awkward saying, "Thank you, life, for choosing me again," because part of you doesn't yet believe you're worthy of being chosen. You might rush through the practice because your mind is already thinking about everything you need to do. Be gentle with this resistance. It's not a sign that the practice isn't working or that you're doing something wrong. It's a sign that you're changing something fundamental about how you meet each day, and change always feels uncomfortable at first. Around day 7, something remarkable happens. You'll have what I call your first morning of natural lightness. You'll wake up and find yourself spontaneously smiling before you even remember to do the practice. The gratitude will feel less like work and more like remembering something true that you had temporarily forgotten. Your body will begin to anticipate this morning ritual. You might find yourself waking a few minutes earlier, not from anxiety or obligation, but from a subtle excitement about greeting the day consciously. This is your nervous system beginning to trust that mornings can feel different than they have for years. During the second week, the practice begins to integrate on a cellular level. Your body starts to relax before you even say the words because it knows what's coming. It knows that instead of immediately diving into stress and hurry, you're going to take time to acknowledge the gift of being alive. The chronic tension you've carried in your shoulders, jaw, or stomach begins to soften. You might notice that you're naturally breathing more deeply throughout the day. People might comment that you seem different, though they won't be able to identify exactly what has changed. This is because you're radiating a different energy, a frequency of appreciation rather than apprehension. By the third week, others definitely begin to notice the shift in your energy and presence. Your children might say you seem less stressed in the mornings. Your coworkers might comment on your increased patience or your ability to stay calm in situations that would have previously triggered anxiety. Your partner might mention that you're more present during conversations, more available for connection rather than distracted by worry. You're not trying to be different with other people, but when you change your internal atmosphere, it inevitably affects how others experience you. You become a calmer presence, a more grounded energy in any room you enter. After 1 month of consistent practice, you reach what I call the new identity milestone. You no longer think of yourself as someone who struggles with mornings or someone who wakes up feeling heavy and burdened. You've become the person who wakes up blessed. This identity shift is profound because it changes not just how you start your day, but how you make decisions, handle challenges, and relate to yourself throughout all of life's experiences. When difficulties arise, you no longer approach them from a mindset of, "Why is life doing this to me?" but rather from, "How is life supporting my growth through this experience?" Here's where most people give up, and I want you to be prepared for this. Right around the 2-week mark, when the novelty has worn off, but the full transformation hasn't yet solidified, the mind says, "This isn't working fast enough," or "I don't feel that different," and abandons the practice just before the real magic begins. You are not most people. You're someone who understands that the most profound changes happen gradually, like the way dawn slowly brightens the sky until suddenly the whole world is illuminated. I want you to tell me in the comments where you are on this journey. Are you at day 1, just discovering this practice and feeling hopeful about what might be possible? Are you in the first week, working through the strangeness and resistance? Are you at week 2, feeling the integration begin to take hold in your body and your daily experience? Or are you a month in, experiencing your new blessed identity? Your sharing helps create community and support for everyone on this path. The key to moving successfully through all 5 milestones is consistency without perfection. You don't need to do the practice flawlessly every morning. You need to return to it faithfully, even after you forget, even after you resist, even after you doubt. Each return to the practice strengthens your commitment to yourself and your willingness to receive the blessings that life is constantly offering. Remember, you're not trying to fix something broken. You're remembering something whole. Every morning that you place your hands on your heart and thank life for choosing you again, you're affirming a truth that has always been true. You're just finally becoming aware of it. Let's explore honestly the 5 specific obstacles that arise when you commit to transforming your relationship with morning consciousness. I'm not sharing these to discourage you, but to prepare you so that when they appear, you'll recognize them as part of the natural process of change rather than evidence that something is wrong or that you're failing. The first obstacle is waking up already stressed or feeling immediately behind schedule. This is especially common if you've been living in survival mode for a long time. Your nervous system has become so accustomed to urgency that it creates artificial emergencies even when there are none. You wake up with your heart already racing, your mind already cataloging everything you need to do, your body already tense with anticipation of a difficult day. When this happens, the last thing you want to do is slow down for a gratitude practice. Your mind will say, "I don't have time for this. I need to get moving right now." Here's what I want you to understand. This feeling of urgency is often an illusion created by chronic stress patterns that have been reinforced over months or years. In most cases, you have exactly the same amount of time you always had, but anxiety makes everything feel compressed and rushed. The antidote isn't to skip the practice because you feel behind. The antidote is to use the practice to reset your nervous system so you can approach your day from clarity rather than panic. Even 2 minutes of conscious breathing and gratitude will shift you from reactive mode to responsive mode, and you'll actually accomplish more with less effort. The second obstacle is intellectual skepticism. Your rational mind might say, "This is just positive thinking nonsense. Saying pretty words isn't going to change my actual problems. I have real challenges that need real solutions, not feel-good platitudes." This resistance often comes from people who've tried affirmations before without understanding the deeper principles involved. They've repeated phrases without feeling, without body awareness, without consistency, and when nothing changed, they concluded that conscious language practices don't work. But this isn't about denying your problems or pretending everything is perfect. This is about changing your fundamental relationship to existence itself. When you thank life for choosing you, you're not saying that your challenges don't exist or that they're not real. You're acknowledging that despite whatever difficulties you're facing, the basic fact of your being here, breathing, aware, capable of love and growth and contribution, is itself a gift. This perspective doesn't eliminate problems, but it gives you a stable foundation from which to address them with wisdom rather than desperation. The third obstacle is simply forgetting during the first week or two. You wake up and immediately fall into your old pattern of checking your phone, thinking about your schedule, or starting your mental worry list. You remember the practice sometime later in the day and feel disappointed in yourself for not following through. This forgetting isn't a character flaw or a sign of weakness. It's neurological. Your brain is wired to repeat familiar patterns, especially when you're in the vulnerable state of just waking up. The solution is to create physical reminders and remove barriers. Put a note on your nightstand that says, "Thank you, life." Set a gentle alarm on your phone that goes off 5 minutes after your usual wake time with a message about gratitude. Ask your partner or family member to gently remind you for the first week. Most importantly, when you do remember, don't waste energy criticizing yourself for forgetting. Just begin the practice right then, whether it's 8 in the morning or noon or 3 in the afternoon. The fourth obstacle is comparison with your old mornings or with other people's experiences. You might think, "I used to be able to jump out of bed and get right to work. This feels indulgent." Or, "Other people talk about feeling immediate bliss during gratitude practice. I just feel awkward." Comparison is one of the fastest ways to abandon a beneficial practice. Your journey with conscious awakening will be uniquely yours. Some people feel dramatic shifts immediately. Others experience subtle, gradual changes that unfold over weeks. Neither is better or worse. What matters isn't how your experience compares to anyone else's. What matters is whether you're gradually developing a kinder, more appreciative relationship with the gift of being alive. Some mornings, the gratitude will feel natural and flowing. Other mornings, it will feel like effort or resistance. Both kinds of mornings are valuable. Both are part of building a new neural foundation for how you meet each day. The fifth obstacle is impatience for dramatic results. Contemporary culture has conditioned us to expect immediate transformation. You might try the practice for a week and think, I don't feel completely different yet. Maybe this doesn't work for me. Maybe I'm too damaged or too far gone. But consciousness change follows natural rhythms, not microwave timelines. You're literally rewiring patterns that have been in place for years or decades. This takes consistent practice over time, like building physical strength or learning a musical instrument. The irony is that when you release attachment to dramatic results and simply focus on showing up faithfully to the practice, that's often when the most profound shifts occur. Transformation happens when you're not watching for it, when you're simply committed to loving yourself enough to begin each day with appreciation rather than anxiety. Every obstacle you encounter is actually an invitation to deepen your commitment to yourself and your willingness to receive the blessings that life offers. The practice isn't failing when challenges arise. The practice is working exactly as it should, gradually dissolving the barriers that have kept you separated from your own inherent worthiness and connection to life's benevolent intelligence. Learning to recognize the signs that your morning practice is creating real transformation helps you stay motivated and deepens your trust in the process. These signs appear in three distinct categories: micro signs that you might notice within days, medium signs that become apparent over weeks, and macro signs that unfold over months of consistent practice. The micro signs are subtle but significant shifts in your immediate morning experience. You might notice that your breathing naturally deepens when you place your hands on your heart, even before you begin the gratitude practice. Your jaw might release tension you didn't realize you were carrying. Your shoulders might drop without conscious effort. You may find yourself naturally smiling while still lying in bed, not because anything particularly wonderful has happened, but because you're accessing a deeper appreciation for the simple fact of being alive. Another microsign is a change in your relationship to time in the morning. Instead of feeling like you're stealing time from your day to do the practice, you begin to feel like you're investing in the quality of every hour that follows. The few minutes you spend in gratitude and blessing start to feel like the most practical thing you could possibly do, because they set a foundation of calm awareness that makes everything else flow more easily and efficiently. You might also notice that your first thoughts upon waking become gentler and more compassionate. Instead of immediately remembering your problems or obligations or the things you're worried about, you might find yourself spontaneously appreciating something simple: the warmth of your bed, the sound of birds outside your window, the fact that you slept peacefully through the night. This isn't forced positivity or denial. It's your natural gratitude response awakening after being dormant under layers of worry and hurry. The medium signs become apparent as your nervous system begins to trust this new morning ritual and integrate it into your daily rhythm. People in your life start commenting that you seem calmer, more patient, more present in conversations. Your children might say you're not as rushed or irritated in the mornings. Your coworkers might notice that you handle stress differently, that you don't get pulled into office drama as easily, that you seem to have a quiet strength that wasn't there before. Your partner might mention that you seem more affectionate, more available for connection and intimacy. These changes happen not because you're trying to be different with others, but because when you start your day in harmony with life instead of resistance to it, that harmony naturally extends into all your interactions. You're not performing kindness or patience or presence. You're embodying a different frequency, one that's naturally more spacious and compassionate. You might also notice that opportunities begin appearing with unusual synchronicity. phone calls that lead to unexpected possibilities, invitations that align perfectly with your interests and desires, solutions to problems that seemed unsolvable presenting themselves through seemingly random encounters. This isn't magic or wishful thinking. It's alignment. When you're vibrating gratitude and appreciation, you become magnetic to experiences that match that energy. Another medium sign is improved physical health and energy. Your digestion might improve because you're no longer starting each day in stress mode, which activates your sympathetic nervous system and impairs digestive function. Your sleep might deepen because you're not carrying the accumulated tension of days that began in anxiety and overwhelm. Your immune system might strengthen because chronic stress suppresses immune function, and you're gradually reducing your baseline stress levels. The macro signs represent profound shifts in your identity and life direction that become apparent after months of consistent practice. You realize that you've become someone who actually enjoys mornings, someone who looks forward to the quiet ritual of connecting with gratitude before engaging with the world's demands. This identity shift affects every decision you make throughout your day, every relationship you participate in, every challenge you encounter. Bernadette, a 58-year-old nurse from Phoenix, shared with me that after 6 months of morning gratitude practice, she realized she had unconsciously begun making choices that supported her well-being rather than undermining it. She started saying no to commitments that drained her energy without serving her values. She found herself naturally choosing foods that made her feel vibrant rather than sluggish. She began pursuing creative interests she had abandoned years earlier when life became too busy and stressful. She hadn't consciously decided to make these changes. They emerged naturally from her increased sense of self-worth and life appreciation. Perhaps the most profound macro sign is a fundamental shift in how you interpret life events. Challenges that would have previously felt like evidence that life was against you begin to feel like opportunities for growth and deeper understanding. Delays that would have frustrated you start to feel like divine timing, protecting you from something or guiding you towards something better. Relationships that end start to feel like completions that create space for more authentic connections. Stay with me in silence for just a moment. Let yourself feel into the possibility that these shifts are available to you, not as distant dreams, but as natural results of consistently beginning each day in appreciation rather than apprehension. The beautiful truth about these signs is that they compound. Each small shift creates space for larger transformations. Each moment of morning gratitude builds upon every previous moment, creating momentum toward a life that feels blessed rather than burdened. You don't need to wait for dramatic external changes to confirm that the practice is working. The practice is working the moment you choose appreciation over anxiety, the moment you thank life for choosing you again instead of immediately cataloging what's wrong with your world. Let me bring together everything we've explored today and share with you the most profound transformation I've ever witnessed through this simple morning practice. We've talked about the 7 words that can change your life. Thank you, life, for choosing me again. We've explored the complementary practices that deepen this foundation of gratitude. We've examined the neuroscience behind why these first moments of consciousness are so powerful. We've walked through the natural timeline of transformation and addressed the obstacles that might arise. We've identified the signs that confirm your practice is creating real change in your life. But now I want to tell you about Wilhelmina, a 73-year-old woman from Baltimore who came to my workshop 18 months ago in a state of such profound despair that she had essentially given up on the possibility of joy in her remaining years. Her husband of 48 years had passed away 14 months earlier after a long illness. Her adult children lived across the country and rarely called, wrapped up in their own busy lives. Her arthritis made simple tasks painful and difficult. She had stopped cooking real meals for herself, stopped maintaining the garden she once loved, stopped reading the books that used to bring her pleasure. She was going through the motions of living, but had lost connection to any sense of purpose or meaning. Wilhelmina told me that she woke up every morning at 4:37, not from any alarm clock, but from what she called the weight of emptiness pressing down on my chest like a stone. She would lie there for over an hour, reliving conversations with her husband, imagining different outcomes to his illness, counting all the ways her life had become small and meaningless. By the time she finally got out of bed, she was already exhausted by grief and regret, already defeated by the day that hadn't even begun. When I taught the morning gratitude practice, Wilhelmina was openly skeptical. She said, "What exactly am I supposed to be grateful for? That I'm still here when the person I most wanted to share life with is gone? That I wake up alone every day in a house that feels like a tomb? That my body hurts and my children don't need me anymore? That I have nothing to look forward to and no one who really cares whether I live or die?" Her pain was so raw, so honest, that the entire room fell silent. Several people were crying just listening to her speak. I looked at her with all the love in my heart and said, "Start with the fact that your heart is still beating. That's where gratitude begins, Wilhelmina. Not with your circumstances being perfect, but with the basic miracle that life keeps choosing you, even in your grief, even in your loneliness, even when you can't imagine why. Your heart has been beating faithfully for 73 years. Your lungs have been breathing. Your body has been carrying you through every season of your life, including this difficult one. That faithfulness deserves acknowledgement." That night, Wilhelmina went home and set her alarm for 4:45, 15 minutes after her usual wake time. When it went off, instead of lying there in familiar sorrow, she placed both hands over her heart and whispered through tears, "Thank you, life, for choosing me again." She told me later that she started crying immediately, but they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of recognition. Even in her grief, even in her loneliness, life was still flowing through her. Her heart was still beating with purpose she couldn't yet understand, but could finally acknowledge. Within a week, something extraordinary began happening. Wilhelmina started waking up naturally at 4:37, but instead of dreading those early morning hours, she began to treasure them. She would make a cup of tea and sit by her kitchen window, speaking quietly to her husband, as if he were there beside her. She would thank life for choosing her, and then ask, "Robert, what are you asking me to do with this day?" And she began receiving answers. The first answer was to call her neighbor, elderly Mrs. Chen, who had recently broken her hip and was struggling with simple tasks. The second answer was to start cooking again, not just for herself, but to bring meals to people in her community who were struggling with illness or isolation. The third answer was to volunteer at the local literacy center, teaching adults to read. Within 6 months, Wilhelmina had transformed from someone who was merely surviving to someone who was serving, from someone who felt useless to someone who felt essential. But the most remarkable transformation happened on a Tuesday morning in November, exactly 1 year after beginning her gratitude practice. Wilhelmina woke up at 4:37, placed her hands on her heart, and said, "Thank you, life, for choosing me again." And in that moment, she felt her husband's presence so clearly that she actually turned to look beside her in bed. She heard his voice, not audibly, but in her heart, saying, "This is why life kept choosing you, my love. You still had so much love to give, so much service to offer, so much wisdom to share. Your purpose didn't end when I left. It deepened. Do you understand what happened here?" Wilhelmina didn't arrive at this profound peace and purpose through years of therapy or complex spiritual practices. She got here through the simple daily choice to thank life for her existence before allowing grief to define her day. You arrived at this teaching today not by accident, but because some part of you knows that your relationship with your mornings, with your first moments of consciousness, holds the key to transforming your entire experience of being alive. By now, we've been together for nearly 50 minutes, and you haven't left. You haven't gotten distracted or decided this was too simple or too complicated. You've stayed present for this entire journey. That's not random. That's alignment. That's your soul recognizing truth when it hears it. You chose to be here. You chose to listen. You chose to open your heart to the possibility that your life could feel different starting tomorrow morning. The preparation is complete. The understanding is established. The foundation has been laid. Now it's time for you to claim this practice as your own, to seal your commitment to beginning each day in appreciation rather than apprehension, to declare that you are ready to live as someone who wakes up blessed. Place both hands over your heart right now. Feel that faithful rhythm beneath your palms. This is the rhythm that has sustained you through every moment of your life, through every challenge you've overcome, through every joy you've experienced, through every night of sleep and every morning of awakening. Your heart has never once abandoned you, and life has never once given up on you, even in your darkest moments, even when you wanted to give up on yourself. We're going to speak these 7 transformational words together in 3 distinct ways, and each time we say them, we're going to let them penetrate more deeply into the truth of who you are. Each repetition is going to dissolve another layer of the old story that mornings are something to survive rather than celebrate, that life is something to endure rather than embrace. First, we'll whisper the words as a confession, an intimate acknowledgement between you and life itself, a secret conversation between your heart and the heart of existence. Then we'll speak them in your normal voice as a clear decision about how you choose to meet each day from now on. Finally, we'll declare them with authority, claiming your identity as someone who recognizes the blessing of existence itself. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Feel your connection to this moment, to your own aliveness, to the miraculous fact that consciousness is flowing through you right now, that you are awake and aware and capable of receiving this gift. Whisper with me, "Thank you, life, for choosing me again." Feel those words settling into your heart like seeds finding fertile ground. Let them echo through your chest, through your entire being, like ripples spreading across still water. Now speak with me in your normal voice, with conviction and clarity. Thank you, life, for choosing me again. Feel the strength in those words, the commitment you're making to appreciate your existence before criticizing it, to greet each day as an ally rather than an enemy, to recognize the gift before cataloging the problems. And now, declare with me, with complete authority and absolute knowing, thank you, life, for choosing me again. Feel the power in that declaration. Feel how it reverberates through every cell of your body, announcing to the universe that you are ready to live as someone who recognizes the gift of being alive, someone who starts each day from gratitude rather than complaint. Now we're going to claim your new identity in the same 3 stages. This is who you are becoming through this daily practice of morning gratitude and blessing. This is the person who will wake up tomorrow and every day after. Whisper with me, I am someone who wakes up blessed. Let that identity begin to take root in your consciousness. Not as something you're pretending to be, but as something you're remembering you've always been underneath all the conditioning and fear. Speak with me clearly. I am someone who wakes up blessed. Feel the truth of that statement. Feel how it's already beginning to change your relationship to tomorrow morning, to every morning that follows for the rest of your life. Declare with me with absolute authority, I am someone who wakes up blessed. Let that declaration ring through your entire being. Let it establish itself as an unshakable truth about who you are and how you meet each day. If this practice has touched something deep within you, if you can already sense how it might transform not just your mornings, but your entire relationship with being alive, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. Every teaching here is designed to help you remember the truth of your inherent worthiness and your connection to life's benevolent intelligence. Tomorrow morning, when you first open your eyes, before you check your phone, before you remember your obligations, before you allow the world to tell you who you should be or what you should worry about, you're going to place your hands on your heart. You're going to feel that faithful rhythm, and you're going to speak those 7 words. Thank you, life, for choosing me again. You're going to let them remind you that existence itself is a gift, that your presence here matters, that each day is a new opportunity to love and grow and contribute to the beautiful tapestry of life. Come back to me in 21 days and share in the comments how your mornings have transformed. Tell me about the lightness you're feeling, the synchronicities that are appearing, the way your entire day flows differently when it begins in gratitude rather than anxiety. Your testimony will encourage others who are just beginning this journey of conscious awakening. This practice doesn't require perfection. It requires presence. It doesn't demand that you feel immediate bliss or have mystical experiences. It asks only that you show up consistently with willingness to appreciate the miracle of being alive. Some mornings the gratitude will flow easily like water from a spring. Other mornings it will feel like effort, like pushing against old patterns. Both kinds of mornings are sacred. Both are building the foundation of a life that feels blessed rather than burdened. The 7 words, "Thank you, life, for choosing me again," are now part of you. They're going to meet you tomorrow morning like an old friend, like a gentle reminder of what's true before the world tells you what's wrong. They're going to help you remember that you're not here by accident, that your existence is intentional, that life keeps selecting you for reasons that may be beyond your current understanding, but are absolutely real and meaningful. It is accomplished. Your new relationship with morning consciousness has begun. You are no longer someone who merely survives the transition from sleep to wakefulness. You are someone who meets each dawn as a gift, each breath as a blessing, each heartbeat as proof that life believes in you enough to keep you here, to keep offering you opportunities for love, for growth, for service, for joy. Wake up blessed, dear one. Life has been waiting for you to remember that this is exactly what you've always been.